What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life, baby. You already know. But this isn't Aqua Life. This is our arch nemesis, Narukami. So, while we are all enjoying this quarantined time, I wanted to bring you guys my little brother's Narukami deck. We he's played in the tournament with it. Got a lot of playtesting games with it. In the tournament, as you get, he went 3-1 during the tournament. He was undefeated up until the final round where he played my Ravon deck, and I more or less, yes, I did sack him in game two. I crit drew on him on Ravon while he was at 3 damage, but it's neither here nor there. But yes, but he's been doing very well with the deck. This deck has a ton of combos. Like when we're playtesting it, he gets off like 7 attacks in one turn that are all like plus 10. They're like 28k plus. And like on hit draws and whatnot, it just sends me into another, into just another verse of rage. It's just ridiculous. This deck is very good. It's very solid. Easily can be the best deck in the game right now. I think all the decks from this set are actually pretty nice. I have a different opinion of Claired Sword after playtesting against more optimized and refined decks. But yeah, I think that this set is definitely money. This deck is unbelievably disgusting. And, after we had the tournament there, we worked on the build, we refined it a bit. The deck it's a lot faster now. You see your combo pieces a lot more often, and the deck's just solid overall. So I want to go ahead and get into that, and hope you guys enjoy. Now, yes, I'm doing my brother's deck profile, but that's fine. It's my channel. Obviously, the starter, he said he's never going to change that starter, so don't ask. So we got 4 heals, obviously. Simple. We got 4, 5, 6, and then we got 6. So 6 draw, 6 crit. Trying to keep it out the glare, whatever. 6 draw, 6 crit. Going through the build, he felt as if like we. In this deck, you do want to see your comp piece because your binding from hand is not like an Aqua Force where you just want to see units to call out. And so he's just running the 6 draw, 6 crit build. He feels like this build is pretty good, especially if you're binding cards from hand. Those draw triggers can serve as a card to bind from hand if you don't see Baijan or Chitora in hand. So, but very solid overall as far as the trigger lineup goes. This deck, to be honest, this deck just kind of beats on you. Like, the crits are just kind of like a oh yeah, I'm add to it. Saying, like, what's all the triggers to me in this deck? It's kind of like, oh yeah, I'll add on to it. This deck just kind of just beats your face in and just, does Narukami things and gets rid of your board. 4 copies of Rising Phoenix, of course. This card is a staple in Narukami. Definitely creates a lot of different attack combos. Like, you blow something up on the board. Okay, great. Grab the Phoenix. I've seen him drop 4 Phoenixes in a turn. All of them for a multi-attack. Vanquisher, puts them at a 21k on regular rearguard circle, 26 on the Excel. So you can definitely get some nice multi-attack combos off with this deck, depending on how you set up your turn and what your opponent has for you to eat in the front row. 4 copies of Baijan, or Bajan, or whatever it is. So basically when it's bound from hand, you can call it to the board, and then it has a mandatory soul charge 1. So again, it's just another bind combo card. You can combo this card to be an attacker, like you put on the Excel circle, 23k with Vanquisher skill, regular rearguard circle in the front row, 8k with Vanquisher skill, but you can also combo it to be a booster, so you can put it behind Vanquisher before you swing with him for a 30k column. You can put it behind something else as a booster, whatever it is. So it's a very versatile card that can be used in multiple situations. And then we have 4 copies of Mighty Bolt Dragoon. This is probably my brother's one of his favorite cards in the deck. I don't know if it's his favorite, it might be, but This card is really good. It has a very easy condition. It's a 13k. It's a 13k card during your turn, so booster or attacker. If you've bound something during the turn, so as long as it's your turn and you buy something, he's 13k. That makes really good numbers. And then obviously he's the on play search top 5 for a grade 3, add to hand, discard a card. This deck, the grade 3s in this deck are very potent, especially Jaggy Shot, who we'll get to, and I think Jaggy Shot is like my most hated card in the deck. You open up with like 2 Jaggy Shots and you can pretty much seal the game. That card is absolutely disgusting. So yeah, and we'll get to him. I hate Jaggy Shot, but deck is good. So going into the grade 2s, we have 4 of one of my brother's old favorite cards. He used to love this card. I remember that. 4 copies of Shatora. Shatora is a fantastic card. When it's bound from the hand, you call it to the board. He gains 10k, and he also has his other ability, which is if it hits an opponent's Vanguard, you get to bind a card. Or you get to Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and then you get to choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and bind it when its attack hits. So it's really just a good card. It's really a really good card. 18k with Vanquisher skill and regular rear guard without his ability. 23 on Excel Circle without his ability, but when you do drop him, he can be a 33k column. That hurts, or 28 on the regular circle. Just a standalone fantastic card. And like I said, when you can combo and drop multiple of these, like 2, 3 on the turn, it's just so nasty. And then if you have to, sometimes you have to let him hit and he draws. Oh my gosh, I hate fighting this card. But he's a great card. Then we got 3 copies of Zuitan. Zuitan is still a fantastic card. To be honest, Zuitan is kind of like a better Coral Assault, so to speak. It gets power for every time you blow up you bind one of your opponent's rear guards, and then if your opponent has no front row at the end of the battle that it attacked, it goes into the soul to draw a card. Coral Assault's a card where you kind of have to set him up. You just have to do 4 bows in a turn, and then he goes on soul and draws a card, which is great. But if you want him to gain power, then he has to attack, and he needs to see that 4 other cards on the board are rested besides himself in order to gain his 15k. So this guy is definitely easier to pump up and then get your draw off, especially in this deck. But he's very good early game, for early game plays, for early filter or whatnot. Late game, he can be pretty nice, especially again in this deck. A lot of these cards here allow you to draw cards, so you're constantly drawing, going through your deck, getting to your combo pieces, getting to your shields, getting to what you need to get to secure the game. So this card just makes this deck so much faster and so much better. Then we play 2 copies of Volt Shred Dragon. He's just a combo extender, really. What he does is, when he attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Vanquisher in his card name, you Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and then bind a card from your hand. So again, like I said, you're constantly drawing cards and going through your deck. Sorry about that. But yeah, so he is a really nice combo card. Again, like I said, just extends what you want to do with the deck. And, again, you're constantly drawing cards. But yeah, gets to do that. Then we run 2 copies of Death Sight. So in this deck, you build up a lot of soul between Baijan and Zuitan and Jaggy Shot. So because you build up a lot of soul, he's a really good card. He's a fantastic beater, especially when it comes to late game situations, and he doesn't cost a counterblast, so it's just another way to retire a card, to bind a card, and then get some good power lane. So Death Scythe is definitely still a very good, very useful card. And then obviously we play the 2 of Cho-Oh. Cho-Oh got limited to 2, but that's not a problem. There's a lot of other cards in this deck that shine very brightly. Cho-Oh is kind of like the icing on the cake. Being able to resand, I mean, when you combine it with Vanquisher skill, you know, Cho's 24K on the Excel circle, swinging twice is kind of like, having a better, it's like having a better version of Algos, it's like attack and then Vanguard attacks. And then at the end of the battle, your Vanguard attacks, you can decide if you want to restand Cho or not, which I think is a fantastic option. I kind of wish Aquaforce had that, but I can't complain with what we have. Yeah, Cho is just a fan, and his bind ability is decent too. Because there's sometimes where opponents are hiding cards in the back row, you can use his ability to bring a card up from the back row in the same column. You don't have a target to retire, but then you can still bring up something for paying his costs. So that can put you in a pretty good position to activate Vanquisher's ability, but also get some binds off. And then we're gonna move on to the grade 3. So grade 3s, I hate this card. If there was a card in this deck I hated the most, it's Jaggy Shot, and I hate this card because this card is too good. If your opponent has no front row, it's a plus. When he attacks, you bind a card from your hand, bind a card on your opponent's front row, and if your opponent has no front row, you draw a card. And then if at the end of the battle that he attacked, you toss him into the soul, you draw another card. So he sets up your Vanquisher for you. It causes you not to have to re-ride in order to have Vanquisher's full ability live for his counterblast skill. This guy is like your main combo card. He can be he's in most situations he's a plus. Again, you're in this deck, he's drawing cards, and he's essentially drawing and getting going through 2 cards for you. Use his skill, bind the Shatora, call the Shatora, draw a card, go into soul, draw another card. You just drew 2 cards before you even swung with your Vanguard skill. This guy is just too nasty. He needs to be run at 4. I personally think he's I'm afraid to say that he's the best. That he's like one of the best rear guards in the deck, but he is. And even if you have to sit on him on the Vanguard circle, you can still do some good things. You can still get through your deck, because when you bind, because you just swing, bind from hand, then bind a card on your opponent's board and draw a card if they have no front row. You can combo Shatora still, Baijan, whatever it is. So yeah, Jaggy Shot's really nice. And then obviously 4 copies of Dragonic Vanquisher. Yes, he returned. My brother actually really liked Vanquisher back then in G2, even though he was more tuned to brawlers. But yeah, Vanquisher, solid card. During turn, if a total of 3 or more were bound, your front row gets 10k, so it's a continuous ability, so everything falls under that, which is great. And then you counterblast 1, you bind a card in your opponent's front row, but if you have a grade 3 in the soul, then you get to you and your opponent bind a card from your hand. And again, he combos with Shatora, combos with Baijan, gets rid of maybe an extra grade 3 that extra Vanquisher copy you don't really need, but you're taking a card off your opponent's board. That's an intercept off their board possibly, and you're killing a card in their hand too. So it's just allowing you to push more. Your opponent's sitting there all happy with 8 cards in their hand, then you bind it to 7, and then now they're sitting here like, okay, crap, this actually changes up how you have to guard for the turn. You can't use certain cards. Your perfect guard's value kind of decreases in a way, in the terms of like what you had in your hand to bind. Rather than having 8 cards, you have 7. So when you use a PG, you go down to 5 instead of 6. So yeah. He's a fantastic card overall. That 10k to front row is disgusting. As a first ride, he's not fantastic unless you have Jaggy Shots and multiple cards to bind, whatnot, to combo out, because there is a justification for riding him first just to get things started, and then to drop him. But if you open up both, you want to ride Vanquisher, get him, draw 2 cards, and you can still do what you got to do. But the deck overall is just very solid, it's very good. It's really good if it goes second too, because going second means that your opponent has put out a front row, and that's just more cards for Vanquisher in this whole deck to bind and get rid of and get their abilities off. So this deck, I think one of the things that makes this deck one of the best in the format is the fact that it actually, you know, does really well going second. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I guess you guys want to see a fight between my brother and I, Aquaforce and Ravon. Or Ravon Aquaforce versus Vanquisher Narukami. So when we do get some, because I have to work from home now, but when we do get some time, I will be able to go ahead and film that and get you guys some playtesting games. I'm thinking about doing like a whole, testing out my camera's capacity and trying to see if we can do like a whole like 30-minute, 45-minute long video for a long playtesting session. Just, game after game, not just like not just a match video, but just just game after game after game. Just we guys get some good play testing in, get some good stuff on film, get some good games for you guys to learn from and to get excited about. But that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. You know how it is, Aqua Life, baby. I know we're doing the nemesis, but it is what it is. We out.